Today I begin the final tower I'll be building in Obby Creator. Now don't panic, the key phrase there was in Obby Creator. This isn't the end of SMTOH or anything. Really, it's in this video that I'm announcing I'll be moving to Roblox Studio to create a JTOH fan game called Shark's Many Towers of Heck. Ring 4 is going to be the final ring built in Obby Creator. Rings 1 through 3 and their citadels and soul crushings have been built in Obby Creator, and so has the main Ring 4. So the SMTOH game will begin with a sort of prologue thing that explains what happened in those rings. So the first part of the storyline in the game will be the Ring 4 Citadel of Leon Laboratories. The Ring 4 Soul Crushing Tower of the Planets will also be built in Roblox Studio, but that won't affect the SMTOH storyline. Also, even though the tower building videos will be in Roblox Studio, I'll still make some Obby Creator videos for playing requested obbies and stuff. But for now, we're going to be building my final Obby Creator tower. Now, this is going to be a multi-part video, probably 3 or 4 videos to build this whole thing. And it's going to take this obby slot. It's going to be fittingly named Tower of the Grand Finale, and it's going to be difficulty. Of course, I could change that if I want. I guess we'll see. Yeah, I'm probably going to aim for this to be more like high difficult. And this is going to be built on its own obby slot. Tower of the Grand Finale is going to be longer than a mini tower, so it's going to be longer than a tower with 8 30 by 30 floors. And it is going to have 10 floors. However, it's still going to be shorter than a full-size 100 by 100 floor, 10 floor tower. And before we get to building that, I also just want to mention that I finished up this tower and decided a name on it. The name comes from this comment, but it's also said right there. And I also credited the people who gave me the ideas for that tower. Alright, so here's Tower of the Grand Finale. It says work in progress. So I changed this to a load part. This is the obby ID for this final tower. It's currently a blank obby slot, but that's about to get fixed. So currently for this tower, there are 3 comments that I'm taking inspiration from, but if you want to leave comments with some suggestions for this on this video, feel free to do so. Tower idea. What if the entire tower was just one floor, but every time you press a button at the end of the floor, new platforms update the gameplay? Tower idea. A tower where you warp to different universes using a time machine to complete certain quests. And the third one is a tower where every floor sends you to a random floor from a different tower. You could call it Tower of Nostalgic Surroundings. Also, in order to make it work, put multiple teleporters which will teleport you to different spots in only one place, so it's actually random. This particular comment I'm going to use on some later floors, so not ones that are going to be built today, but I decided I'd go ahead and read the comment anyway. So of course, like I said, there's going to be 10 floors, but it's going to seem like it's one floor that's like traveling through different areas and different things. Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. So I'm going to make this one floor be 30 by 30, so it is going to be the same size as like a normal mini tower I would build, but still it's going to have 10 floors instead of 8. Now, in the different areas this is going to go to, I want it to be so that you can like look through like a window in all 4 directions to see like what's around. But I don't really want to just make the whole frame be semi-transparent. So what I'm going to do is kind of make like a frame of the frame, kind of like I did in Tower of Fastidious Forensics from a few weeks ago. If I just get that done on 3 floors like this, I can just delete those other ones and then just copy paste them. That'll make this go faster. Actually, instead of trying to do drag to select, I think just holding control and clicking them will be easier for that, since it's only 4 parts. Alright, there. This next part I probably should have done before I duplicated the floors, but oh well. Basically, I'm just going to take a part like that and make that semi-transparent. That should make this look a little bit better. And you know what, so you can see even better, I'm going to not make it be 0.6 transparency, but 0.75. How well does that? Does that look good? Yeah. Actually, now that I'm just seeing more than the skybox through here, I think it's definitely not visible enough, so we're going to go back to 0.6. Alright, so that's what every floor is going to look like, except no, it's not. I can add neon here, which I think will look nice, because it's going to be sort of like this is like a spaceship or something, so it's going to be like you ride through this to all the different areas or universes or whatever you want to call it. So the first floor, the first area, universe, I'm just going to say universe, that sounds cooler. So the first universe you go to, yes, it's going to be sort of like Ring 1, sort of like the My First obby slot. I guess I'll just use elements from both of those. You know, like these floating islands, there'll be a couple of those, I guess, and not exactly a lot of detail. I will probably put neon on the parts and like inside the trusses. I think I should do that because it just looks nice and it still fits the theme, so I may as well do that. And this is, of course, My First obby here. Built with not very much design or anything, I just like changed colors of some parts when I felt like it. If you want to see a video where I go back and play obby slots 1 through 4, you can. Now, I know that both of those obbies I just mentioned do have like the default skybox, but like that's so boring. I've used that so much. So I decided to do a different skybox that looks kind of like it. This one's called Open Ocean. And I also changed the daytime to 7.5. Now, as far as the parkour I built, I just put a few platforms here that you can use to jump up to this ledge up here. This ledge here is going to be here, like, in every one of these floors, like in all the different universes. The parkour is going to change, but this is not. And these are going to be trapdoors that you can use to, like, exit here. And I decided to make the color be, like, a dark gray with the neon being, like, a light blue. So it's, like, futuristic, which I think is kind of cool. but like not that much. So I want in this general area around here to be like parkour around it, even if not necessarily all of it you actually like go to. It can just be like platforms surrounding it. Keep in mind I have 4,000 parts to build this tower that's not going to be as long as a full-size tower, so I sort of don't really have to worry about that too much. Like on a full-size tower, I could see using 400 parts on a single floor, but here I don't think that's going to be the case. You might be wondering why I'm putting the spin part here. Well, I want some of the parkour to be, like, spinning around here. So I'm going to make the spin time be much slower. Let's go with 60 for now. I can change that later. And the spin distance is what's going to be the most important. Let's see, what is 45 like? And I should also make the size of this smaller. Let's go with 5 by 5. And I can rotate it here as well, which will make it, like, move up and down a little bit as well. Now, if I keep duplicating this and rotate it 22.5 degrees each time, I can make, like, a full circle around here. Okay. I like that a lot. And you can like go backwards across here, but not forwards. I could somehow incorporate that into the gameplay. Now, if I select all of those, that's going to be annoying to deselect. Now, if I do this, that should select a bunch of them. I can wait a few seconds for these ones to go around to this side, and then I'll hold control and do another drag to select. So right about now, I should be able to do that. There, now selected all of them. Can I just like duplicate them and then like move them down a stud and then like make them like that? And then make them cancel false. I mean, I can't really effectively resize them. Actually, maybe I could. If I undo that like that, okay, then can I do that? Does that work? Yeah. Don't want them scaled in by that much, though. I had my snap to grid as 0.5, so if I set it to 0.25, that'll go back 0.25, which will be the same as if I'd have scaled it in with my snap to grid 0.25. Not entirely sure how much it actually changed that. It appears to be a one stud now, so okay. All right, now we're going to do the same method to select all these, and you'll see why in just a second. Alright, now if I take all 32 of these parts, duplicate them, set this thing to G, which stands for global, I can do that. Then I'll have another set of these rotating on a different axis. I didn't set my rotate snap to grid back, so now it's like rotate at like a weird angle, like it's not 15 degrees, but I actually like that. So I just wish that these weren't rotating the same direction. If I just flip it over, then it fixes that, but then these things are on top. Can I deselect them from here? I can. Okay, there, that worked. It just made that little thing there invisible, like, because when you have it selected, you can see this thing in the center, where, like, the center of rotation sort of is, or something. Wait, what? Why is that, like, off a little bit? Are they like that on here? Whatever. It's not a bug, it's a feature. That's kind of cool. It's futuristic, okay? Is that space the same as this space? And not quite. Alright, fine. Then let's just make a bigger deal about that space. That way it seems more intentional that it's different. There we go. Alright, there we go. That looks very cool already. It doesn't exactly match my first obby or ring 1, like, at all. But having this futuristic look to it, I feel like the time should maybe be a little bit earlier, so it's, like, darker. There we go. That matches a lot better. But not to ring 1 or my first obby. Okay, so we've built this, but there's, like, really not any parkour yet. So that's what I can do here. One of the ways that ring 1 looks, and that I think I could make here, is it just looks... It's very bright, and there's a lot of saturated colors. Not, like, very saturated, like mega fun obbies and stuff tend to be. But I think, like, bright blue colors and bright green colors, and some reds, too, will be good. So that's kind of already what I've begun here. Also, fairly simple gameplay, I feel like, is sort of the case in a lot of the Ring 1 towers. So, like, something like this, I could put, like, a gap right there for a jump, and a wraparound, perhaps. And another thing I can do, I'm going to try to make it so that, like, each platform is a different color, so it's like there's a bunch of differently mixed colors. We'll have a bright green here. And so this truss here, I'm also going to want to change to like a yellow or something. It doesn't really matter. We'll go with orange. I mean, I know these are multiple parts, but like they're all next to each other, so it like makes sense that they would be the same color. And I think maybe I will leave out neon. I might put a little bit, maybe, we'll see. So with a bunch of scattered gameplay everywhere, I think it's pretty obvious it should be collect some amount of buttons. The question is, how many? And what will those buttons do? One of the comments suggested like a time machine thing. I think that makes sense. It'll be like you have to collect buttons to like power it up or something, and then you can come back to here and you can use it to teleport to the next universe. I should also try to refrain from making these sections to get to the buttons super long, because I want there to be a lot of them. So like, I feel like they don't need to be super long. Like, I think 2 to 3 platforms is going to be as much as any of these are going to have. Now, since these buttons are, like, part of, like, the time machine, they're, like, related to that, I think it makes sense that they have a futuristic look to them. Alright, so I just added the buttons, and they're all gonna have this, like, lightning bolt thing, because it's like you're powering the time machine. And since the actual decal is white, that means I can set image color and it'll change it. Another thing I'm gonna do for these Ring 1 style platforms is I'm gonna try to keep them mostly rotated to the global axis. So like I'm not going to have them rotated like I had this truss before. That'll mirror some of the Ring 1 type of design, like I didn't really rotate things for rotational variation. I already have most of what I want for floor 1, so you kind of get the basic idea. I'll build the rest of it off camera. Now, there are going to be 10 floors, as I've said like a bunch of times already, but if I were to just like line them up going across here to each different universe, each one's going to be in like a box except this one. So like this box is going to be within like a larger box, and that larger box may have like reflectance 1, so I could have skybox have some effect or something like that. We'll see. But this part here is 100 studs long. Yeah, you can see I'm not going to be able to line 10 of those up and have enough space in each one. This distance here is 1,000 studs, by the way. But what I can instead do is use all this space I got up here. So this floor is probably going to be the only one that's not in a box. The rest of them I'll probably put like over here. Or maybe I'll decide to move this floor like way up there, so that way like this is very much in the distance, which should sort of add to like the mood of the floor, because it's like you're really high up even though it's just like relative to this. But I guess for now let's just build floor 2 like here. So I'm going to duplicate this, and I set my snap to grid to 200 studs, so there we go. That should be an easy enough number to remember, so I'll make sure I space them equally each time. So what universe is floor 2 going to be? Some ideas that will probably be used are going to be like different biomes, kind of. There could be like a jungle, there could be like mountains. This one though, I think let's go with the jungle idea. Or did I say rainforest a second ago? I don't know. Aren't they like the same thing? Does it really matter that much? Alright, so the skybox here probably isn't going to matter, so I can delete the advanced tools part that changed that. The daytime, if it were to remain at the same one as before, it would be like this. This one is going to be inside a larger box, so really what I'm looking for is like the brightness I want this to be. I want it to be like kind of bright. We'll go with like 8. That should be good. Yeah. Wait, didn't in like first grade there's like layers of the rainforest as you like go up? I thought I remember learning that. Let me look that up. Emergent canopy, understory, and forest floor. So the forest floor is like the ground. The understory is like below the leaves, but up a bit. The canopy is the canopy of leaves. That one I remember. So I guess I'm looking at what I was trying to look for. And the emergent layer. I don't know, just where it becomes the sky. But I don't think I'm going to use the emergent layer. I want this to all be underneath the leaves. So I won't go 70 studs above here. We'll go more like 20. But below is still going to be 70. So there, that gives us the dimensions of the box. Alright, so I'm making this the right size, and it's like a very thin platform, so it doesn't use a ton of money. We sort of have an even better idea now of what the size of this floor is going to be. I may make it so there's like a gradient of parts, so it's like if you fall down. Since it's a difficult tower, it probably won't insta-kill you, but it probably will like teleport you back here. So it'll be like you don't actually get to see the forest floor. I know I made that green, but it'll be like just in the understory and canopy layers. So like the canopy layer, all the trees will be up here. So it's gonna be like we could have a cylinder like this for a tree. What do you mean not enough cash? And we'll have several of these of varying sizes and stuff. And so these are, of course, going to be the trees. Since this is a difficult tower, it's not going to insta-kill you if you fall. It'll teleport you back to in here. I could make it reset buttons, though. Or do I want to make it like a linear path of parkour? I think I'm going to do that. It's going to be a pretty long section, though, so like if you fall towards the end, that's a lot to redo. But what I'm going to do is there's buttons along the way that will activate platforms so you can get back a little bit faster if you fall. So there will still be buttons. I guess I could make it be the same idea as here, where they like power the time machine thing, but it can also activate those platforms that let you get back to where you were faster. That works here because we have a linear path of parkour on this floor, unlike this one. So that makes it appropriate to add those platforms that'll activate. So the parkour is going to be mostly brown, like the branches, but there will also be green for the leaves. Some platforms will be like attached to trees as though they're branches. Others will just be like floating, like that one. And it would probably help to like already have most, if not all of these placed before I build the parkour, but I need to wait until I have more money to place all of those. So what I'll do is I'll just build like a little bit of parkour here, then I think we'll go and begin on the next floor. Now for this first couple jumps here, you can either do this stick out wraparound. I'm actually going to make it be like a 2.5 stud. Maybe that's a little bit too difficult for a difficult tower, but you have a choice of what to do. So you can either do that, which is a little bit faster, or you can do that, which is 2 jumps. So that's the jungle floor. Let's move on to the 3rd floor. This will be the last one we build in this video. So now I should build floor 3. I'm gonna go over here for that. Of course, I may move that again. So in one of the comments for this tower, they mentioned it was like a time machine that you used to travel between the different places. So far, it hasn't exactly been much of a time machine, has it? Well, that changes now. This one's gonna be based on a certain time period. What should it be based on? So this floor is gonna be like medieval. You know, that word you can never spell. It's gonna be like a medieval fortress. I think that would be cool. Like, okay, the correct spelling is that, right? Did I spell that right? medieval. Okay, but is it medieval? Is it medieval? Among Us? Just, why? Why can I never spell that? This is gonna be the first floor where, like, there's a floor outside of here that you can actually walk around on instead of, like, floating parkour and stuff. So this floor is kind of going to take up less space. Here's how. So just around here is going to be like the walls of the medieval fortress. I think 40 studs tall should be good. Now I'm going to make it be like this color gray. Darker than the default color, but lighter than this color. And I could make it studs, but that's boring. Let's make it like some sort of stone. Not slate. That looks not right. Brick. Well, okay, that kind of works. I think I'll use that. Unless I find something even better. Cobblestone. I'll use that on the ground. Yeah, it's going to be like brick is what I'm going to go with. From this floor, you'll be able to see the sky. I know I said most of them you probably won't, but that was just a guess. It's going to be like over this edge. You can see that. I guess if you zoom out, you could see what's over the wall. But yeah, this one's going to be like high up here. That way you won't see things like that, like blocking the view. But that gives me a reason to decide a skybox. We're going to go with the sky. Alright, so we've got our medieval fortress, or like inside of it. What's probably gonna happen is it's gonna be like you're gonna go into a dungeon or a cave or something as well on this floor, which I think will be pretty cool. But these are things that are not going to be in this video. The last thing I do want to add to this before I end this video, though, is trees. These trees are going to be smaller than the ones on the rainforest floor, and they're not going to be as prominent in the floor itself. Like, there's not going to be parkour based on the trees. I mean, you might, like, go on top of one or something, but for those reasons, that's why I'm going to make it be wood rather than studs. And also, I think that'll just add some nice variation. Small trees like this, you can build by, like, doing that, and then just adding a couple of things here. Now, for the leaves, I'll make it green, but I want it to be leafy grass, because, well, leaves, that's what this is. Before I end the video, I suppose I can show you what I have built so far. There isn't really much parkour to play through, but okay. So the tower begins here, where you do that inside this main floor. Then you go out here, and you're gonna have to go around to different Ring 1 style parkour to get to various buttons. Currently only one is here, though. So like, you'd press that button. Once you get enough, you'd be able to access like a time machine thing, which will take you to the next floor. Floor 2 is gonna be here, and this parkour here is gonna be different on this floor. At the moment, it's the same, though, because I just copy and pasted it. This is a rainforest or jungle-themed floor. That's all that's there so far. And floor 3 is going to be like a medieval fortress. Again, same parkour because it's copy and pasted. That won't be the case forever. And currently, there's 2 trees over here. I think I'll definitely include some pushbox sections, like moving stuff around. That would be good for an area like this where it's like a large flat platform. Well, I didn't build much parkour in today's video, but I mostly set up the first 3 floors and got an idea of what this tower is going to be like. Later today, after I post this video, I'll be live streaming working on this tower some more and building the parkours for floors 1 through 3. If you enjoyed, please remember to consider liking and subscribing. Also, comment any ideas or suggestions you have for this tower or floors of the Ring 4 Citadel. I'll see you in the next video, and have a great day.